Imagine holding a coin no larger than your thumb, yet carrying within it the whispers of history, identity, and prestige. This is not just any coin. This is the 2007 South African 2 Rand, a seemingly simple piece of metal that bears far more than just a face value. On one side, the national coat of arms rises in fine detail. The shield, the tusks, the secretary bird in flight, all composed in a delicate balance of symmetry and symbolism. Beneath it is inscribed, K-E-E-Zera-K, a phrase from the Zam language meaning diverse people unite. Around the edges, the country's name appears in English and Tsonga, South Africa, Afrikaans. On the reverse, a majestic greater kudu stands poised, its horns spiraling skyward, the engraver's initials ALS tucked near the denomination 2 Rand. At first glance, it may look like an everyday circulating coin, and in fact, millions were minted. The standard version, struck in nickel-plated copper, weighs about 5.50 grams, has a diameter of 23 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. Its edges are milled and interrupted in 5 segments, giving it a distinctive feel between your fingers. This coin belongs to South Africa's 3rd decimal series, introduced in 1989, designed to replace earlier currency systems and bring unity to the nation's coinage design. In 2007 alone, more than 32.58 million of these coins were struck. Munstuck.com +2 online coin club +2, yet within that vast mintage lies a twist: proof strikes. A limited number of these coins were produced as proofs, coins struck with special care, polished planchets, and sharper detail. The proof versions exist in a handful of specimens, around 1,280, and are set aside for collectors. Online Coin Club +2 Munstuck.com +2 to hold one in your hand is to hold a rarity far beyond the circulation pieces. Why is this coin so compelling? Because its design, its symbols, and its era converge in a meaningful way. The coat of arms adopted in 2000 speaks to a post-apartheid identity, a nation redefined. The motto in the indigenous language evokes unity through diversity. The kudu, a native antelope, represents strength and grace. Each detail is carefully chosen, each line purposeful. The coin is more than currency. It is art, narrative, and memory struck in metal. Collectors may look first at scarcity. Though the circulation version is quite common, only a tiny fraction survive in uncirculated condition, and fewer still in perfect proof form. The proof piece from 2007 is not easily found, and when one emerges in the market, it draws immediate attention. Beyond scarcity, condition matters. Flaws, scratches, toning, and handling all erode value. A pristine proof, with mirror fields and frosted devices, commands the highest premiums. Next, provenance and certification elevate desirability. A coin certified by a reputed numismatic grading service with a verifiable history promises authenticity and trust. Contrary to what many believe, age is not the sole measure of a coin's worth. A coin minted in the 1800s but abundant in supply may be less prized than a modern proof struck in limited quantity. This 2007 coin sits at an intersection, modern yet historic, symbolic yet tangible. Its design reflects a transitional era in South Africa. Its proof rarity anchors its collectability. Its potential for long-term appreciation lies in the delicate balance between historical relevance and physical scarcity. Imagine introducing this coin to viewers, the smooth edge, the gleam of its surface, the two sides telling different stories. Speak of how ordinary coins pass unnoticed through pockets and registers, yet proof coins are treasures rarely seen. You might describe setting up a close-up shot, the coat of arms softly lit to reveal every line, the kudu's curves accentuated by shadow. You could narrate the symbolism behind the motto and how such inscriptions tie coinage to national identity. Then let the camera follow the edge, subtly showing the interrupted milling, the texture that separates this coin from everyday change. You might next weave in the journey from mint to collector, how the South African mint and Centurion oversaw production, how proof coins were segregated, how many survived decades of handling or neglect. Mention that in the marketplace today, ordinary 2007 2 Rand coins trade at only a few dollars at most. Numismatic catalogs list their value between roughly $2 to $3 for circulated pieces and modestly higher for ones in near-mint condition. Foronum plus 2 Numista plus 2, but the proof piece stands in a different stratum entirely. Its rarity transforms it from everyday coinage into a numismatic trophy to make the coin compelling to your audience. Dwell not just on the metal and motif, but on the stories it carries, the nation's rebirth, the role of language and culture, the quiet pride of a design that reaches across divides. Invite your audience to imagine owning a piece of that story. Address the skeptical viewer. You might ask, why pay so much for one coin from 2007? The answer lies in what that coin represents. Not just minting, but meaning. Not just metal, but memory. Then lead them gently to the climax. Paint the prestige of owning a coin that few will ever see, let alone hold. A proof 2 Rand from 2007, preserved in pristine condition, certified, ready to be the centerpiece of a collection. Such a coin doesn't just sit in a drawer, it becomes a legacy. As interest in modern coins with deep symbolism grows, as collectors seek stories not just age, this coin has the potential to appreciate in stature and value. Picture a bustling marketplace in 1979 Johannesburg, Port Elizabeth, or Durban. A shopper picks up a small item, perhaps a loaf of bread or a handful of seeds, and exchanges a handful of coins. Among them might slip this quiet bronze 2 cents piece. Unassuming, but real. The coin bears witness to daily life, to commerce and barter, to change handed over by housewives, merchants, street vendors. It circulated where voices and lives converged. Examine closely, and you see the obverse. 2 Cape sparrows perched in calm symmetry. That image might seem simple, but it is laden with meaning. The sparrow is a ground-dwelling bird, common and unassuming, yet it thrives. It is a symbol of everyday resilience, of lives lived in streets and fields. The design draws you in. Each feather's detail, each curve of the wings, the slight tilt of the heads, a visual whisper about balance, nature, and subtle beauty in the mundane. Flip it over, and the reverse carries the nation's name in both English and Afrikaans. Republic of South Africa/Republiek van Suid-Afrika. Those bilingual inscriptions hint at the dual identity of a people, a society navigating multiple languages, multiple histories, multiple tensions. Around the rim you see the year 1979, anchoring it in time, but also the denomination 2 cents. In those letters and numerals lies a narrative, a currency system, the reach of government, the intentions of a minting authority. In understanding this coin, we must appreciate the context. South Africa in 1979 lived in a complex era, one of deep social fracture and powerful dynamics. The coin was minted under a regime wrestling with identity, justice, and inequality. Every piece of currency is political. Every coin is a token of authority and trust. People accepted this little bronze disc because the state told them it had value, and daily life trusted that system. For many, it was simply serviceable change. For others, a reminder of the structures under which they lived. Yet time does something to coins. It erodes grooves, softens edges, darkens the surface, hides inscriptions. The patina grows, sometimes unevenly, light smudges of coppery brown, deeper tones in crevices. A well-preserved coin from 1979 is rare. If one remains with crisp detail, sharp rim, clear letters, strong relief, that is a signal of exceptional care or fortunate preservation, perhaps kept in a collection long ago, shielded from wear and handling. Collectors prize such examples. They value the intersection of condition and scarcity. A 1979 South African bronze 2 cents coin in everyday condition might fetch modest sums among those fascinated by African numismatics. But when one is preserved beautifully, perhaps in uncirculated or mint state, it commands far greater admiration. The fine lines on the birds, the edges' integrity, the clarity of the dual inscriptions, those tell a refined tale, one that speaks to reverence, stewardship, history held firm against wear. Think of a collector tracing the path of that coin. It might have rested for decades in an album, unseen, seldom touched, or passed through cautious hands that recognized its value early. Over time, the narrative of scarcity widens. Fewer excellent specimens survive, more stories are lost, and demand strengthens. The coin becomes a bridge between eras, from a time when 2 cents could buy a small token to now, when that same object carries meaning far beyond literal monetary value. The coin invites you to reflect on scales of worth. In 1979, 2 cents meant something. It fit into a system of values where change mattered. As economies evolved, inflation, new currency systems, changes in minting policy all diminished the everyday relevance of small bronze coins. Yet the coin survives as artifact, not currency. Its value has shifted from transaction to remembrance. It becomes a relic, a witness to transitions, to shifting economies and changing societies. Consider, too, the tactile dimension. Holding the coin, feeling its weight, edges, temperature differences against your skin. It connects you to those past hands and places. You imagine the palms of someone in 1979, perhaps paying for fruit, or kids saving small coins. That physical connection across time makes even a small coin seem epic. In telling its story to your viewers, you guide them through a layered journey. You begin with its humble face, bronze, small, 2 cents. Then invite them to see the sparrows, the inscriptions, the year. Next, ground it in political and cultural soil. Explain the language, the regime, the tensions. Then move into collecting lore, condition, rarity. Finally, link it to human experience, commerce, touch, memory. Each layer adds depth, weaving a compelling narrative as you narrate. You can pause on details, describe a glint of light off the coin's surface, the way the raised letters catch shadows, the fine rings on the bird's wings. Use sensory language, sight, sound, touch. Encourage viewers to imagine the coin in their hand. Invite them to reflect on how objects survive time. You can contrast the thousands of common coins that faded, were spent, melted down, lost, versus this rare gem that endured. You might introduce moments of tension. How many specimens remain? How many were lost to circulation, erosion, corporate meltdowns in the mint environment? What is known to exist today in museums or private collections? You could evoke the thrill of discovery when a collector or numismatist stumbles upon a pristine specimen in a stack of old coins. That moment of realization, of rarity revealed, is a human thrill. Your viewers will sense that this coin is more than metal. It is a lens into an era, into design, policy, trade, identity, memory. It lets them hold a fragment of 1979, a relic that traveled through decades of change. It brings abstraction into touchable form. In a world where rare coins often tell hidden stories, the 1978 South Africa half-cent coin carries more than its small size suggests. It's a piece of history, art, and numismatic intrigue wrapped into one bronze disc. For collectors who understand the nuance behind mintages, condition, and cultural context, this coin becomes a treasure rather than just a relic. Let's begin by setting the stage. In 1978, South Africa was still minting a variety of small-denomination bronze coins as part of its decimal coinage series. The half-cent, written 1/2 C, was produced in bronze, with a weight of approximately 2.00 grams and a diameter near 16.21 millimeters. Its thickness is about 1.47 millimeters, giving it a solid, compact presence in hand. These specifications are consistent with the same series of half-cent coins issued in nearby years. Muntstuk +2 Muntstuk +2 on the obverse, front, of the coin, you will find the inscription South Africa and Suid-Afrika, reflecting the bilingual nature of the country at the time. Below is the Latin motto Yex Unitate Vires, meaning from unity, strength. The year 1978 appears alongside the initials TS, standing for Tommy Sassine, the coin's designer. On the reverse, back, the design is simple but elegant. One half, followed again by TS, under light. You might even discern the fine artistry in the stamping of those initials. The edge is reeded or coarsely milled. Last dodo plus 2 Munstuck plus 2, but what truly gives this coin its mystique is its rarity and the conditions under which it existed. In that year, the mintage figure for the 1/2 cent coin is often listed as only around 37,000 pieces. Munstuck plus 2 last dodo plus 2 many of those coins entered circulation and endured the wear and tear of daily life, being handled, pocketed, jostled, cleaned, scraped. Over decades, most were lost, melted down, or reduced to circulated grades with diminished detail. Given that, an uncirculated or proof condition 1978 half cent is extraordinarily rare. Collectors prize coins that retain their original luster, sharp details, crisp edges, and minimal toning or surface marks. A coin in such pristine condition is something akin to a natural diamond. It rarely occurs and is intensely prized when found. From a historical perspective, the coin is a bridge between eras. South Africa's coinage underwent multiple transitions during the mid to late 20th century, responding to political, economic, and societal change. The inclusion of both English and Afrikaans on the coins acknowledges the bilingual tension in the country's identity at that time. The motto, the design choices, and the simplicity of the coin reflect an era when small denominations still held everyday utility and symbolic meaning. Those elements make it more than metal. It's a cultural artifact. Imagine showing the coin to your audience under magnification. You draw their attention to the fine lines around 1/2 and the initials TS. You let them see the crispness of the font, the subtle wear or absence thereof. You might compare it to a circulated coin, pointing out how much detail is lost when coins circulate. That visual contrast adds emotional weight. The rarity becomes tangible, not just theoretical. You can also discuss how coin collectors judge value. It's not just rarity. Condition, grade, provenance, history of ownership or origin, and market interest all play roles. Even tiny deviations, slight toning, micro scratches, die cracks, can dramatically affect value. And for a coin this small and old, potential for damage is high. So specimens that survive in mint state are treasured. To further engage your viewers, you might recount anecdotes. Perhaps a collector who searched for years, or a coin show where two collectors vied for a gem-proof example. Or you might explain how sometimes coins are rediscovered in family coin jars, estate sales, or old collections, and even a minor reappearance can cause flutters in the collector community. You could also briefly compare this 1/2 cent with other South African coins of that time. For instance, the 2-cent coin from 1978 depicts a black wildebeest and was struck in larger quantities. Munstuck or mention how the cent coin series was essentially discontinued for general circulation by the 1970s and later struck only in proof sets. Wikipedia +1 These comparisons highlight how unusual it is for a 1/2 cent to survive well. In preparing such a video, your narration tone can shift from descriptive to suspenseful. You begin with a modest appearance. At first glance, it's just a small bronze disc. Then you build intrigue. But in top condition, this coin can command thousands of dollars, a testament to the endurance of rare art and history. By the time you reveal the price, the viewer is primed to understand and feel respect. You should guide the viewer visually. Include high-resolution close-ups, light from different angles so the relief shows shadows, macro shots of the lettering, and side views to show thickness and edge milling. Overlaying text might highlight 37,000 minted, or mint state equals extremely rare. Use measured pacing so viewers can absorb each feature before moving on. You may also mention that despite web listings showing proof 1978 1/2 cent coins for modest amounts, for example one listing at about 40.00 in local currency, Bob's Hop, those are likely lower grade or uncertified pieces. They don't reflect the kind of flawless specimen that captures collector attention at the highest tier. As you conclude, you can reflect on what value means for a collector. It's not just price per ounce or metal content. The bronze composition is modest, but the story, the condition, the scarcity, and the emotional resonance of owning something few others can. Then, quietly drop the final reveal, $7,530.